Hello and welcome. This is the news at 10 on NTA News 24. We are broadcasting live from the nation's capital city, Abuja. I'm Dennis Adegunloye. Let's first bring you the headlines. President Buhari condemns killing of 15 people by bandits in Sokoto State, urges security forces to redouble efforts. Senate to investigate diplomatic row between Nigeria and UAE for benefits of the two countries.
We are not trading among ourselves enough in Africa.
Chairman of Intra-African Trade Fair Advisory Council calls for removal of trade barriers for free movement of goods and persons across African markets. Let's now bring you the full details. President Muhammadu Buhari has condemned the latest massacre of 15 people in Goronyo and Ilela local government areas of Sokoto State, warning that needless and mindless violence against innocent people cannot go unpunished. Reacting to the incident from South Africa through his media aide Garba Shehu, President Buhari warned that the persistent and unprovoked violence against unharmed civilians must be met with fierce responses by the government. The president reassures Nigerians that this administration will not abandon them to their fate in the face of this existential challenge caused by banditry. According to the president, quote, "We are taking delivery of military equipment to improve the capacity of our security forces to effectively deal with the issue. Our military is also deploying advanced technology to enhance surveillance and related operations to locate and crush criminals and enemies of the nation's common humanity. This administration will not tolerate this state of affairs where criminals deprive the people of their means of livelihoods and turn them into beggars and refugees. The bandits are living in a fool's paradise if they believe that they can't be crushed. The criminals cannot be lucky always. They will ultimately meet their Waterloo. Evil cannot triumph over good no matter how long it takes." End of quote. And President Muhammadu Buhari is back in Abuja after successful outings at the Climate Change Conference in Glasgow, Scotland, the Peace Forum in Paris, France, and the Intra-African Trade Fair in Durban, South Africa. State House correspondent Aliu Kabir reports.
President Muhammadu Buhari left King Shaka International Airport, Durban, South Africa, Tuesday morning after a successful outing at the Intra-African Trade Fair in Durban. The president was seen off by a high-powered South African delegation full of hope and optimism for a more prosperous, stronger and united Africa. On his arrival at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, Tuesday evening, the president was received by his chief of staff, Professor Ibrahim Gambari, FCT Minister Muhammad Musa Bello, and the service chiefs. Others include Inspector General of Police Usman Al-Ali Baba, Director General Department of the State Services Yusuf Magaji Bichi, and some senior government officials. A ceremonial guard by a detachment of the Presidential Guards Brigade was also mounted at the airport to accord the Nigerian leader a befitting reception. The Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, described Nigeria's participation at the second Intra-African Trade Fair as a well thought out and remarkable.
Since the decision of our government to sign the treaty establishing African Continental Free Trade Organization, the President has taken a decision to take very early steps in order to see to the actualization of the aspirations of not only the Nigerian government and people, but particularly our own businesses. And as you can see, there is a great deal of enthusiasm on the part of Nigerian businesses to take full advantage of this largest free trade organization known anywhere in the world. It is such a shame that between themselves, African countries trade only at the level of 15%. Globally, Africa controls only 3% of world trade. This is not good enough. So President Buhari has led the Nigerian delegation with a lot of expectation. As a promoter of Nigerian economy, as a salesman, in order to market opportunities that are available in Nigeria for the rest of Africa. The last fair of this type that took place in Cairo, Nigerian businesses netted in deals worth more than 3.3 billion US dollars. We are hoping that in Durban, South Africa, Nigerian businesses will surpass that achieved target.
He added that Nigeria will continue to be a key player in all efforts towards promoting peace and development of the African continent. I am Aliu Kabir, NTA News.
And on the back of a strong policy and regulatory framework, Vice President Yemi Oshimbajo says the Buhari administration remains committed to the revitalization and development of the mining sector while ensuring it attracts more local and foreign investments. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
Vice President Yemi Oshimbajo says the administration remains committed to the revitalizing and development of the mining sector because it is a critical part of the administration's recent National Development Plan 2021 to 2025.
So the development of the mining sector has been an important component of our economic policy, at least since the inception of our administration in 2015. What will be evident to a potential investor is that we have built a robust framework for the mining sector, line by line, and as it were, precept by precept.
The Vice President, in his remarks, delivered virtually at the opening of the 5th Annual Nigerian Mining Week Discourse Series with the theme, Top 7 Reasons to Invest in Nigeria's Mining Sector, says it is significant that within the space of a year, the nation has recorded a 26.7% increase in revenue generation from 2019 to 2020, saying while this is encouraging, there is still a lot of work to be done.
In writing this new chapter of economic growth, our aim is to develop local industries, generate employment, and focus on resource beneficiation to create wealth along the mineral value chain.
The Vice President expressed confidence that the 5th Annual Nigerian Mining Week Discourse Series would be a veritable platform for strategic reflection, incubation of ideas, and production of actionable policy propositions on diverse issues of mining along its value chain. In Abuja, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
In an increasingly integrated African continent, all hands must be on deck to ensure that limitations to product quality and technical barriers to trade are removed, while improving the market acceptability of made-in-Nigeria products. Vice President Yemi Oshimbajo stated this at the opening session of the virtual Open Day with MSMEs organized by the Standards Organization of Nigeria. The Vice President says this is particularly important as the nation seeks to expand exports to the rest of Africa in the African Continental Free Trade Area and to the rest of the world.
It is our expectation that this event will further educate MSMEs on the recent efforts to improve product standardization, including the Nigerian Standardization Strategy document and the National Quality Policy document. While there is still a significant amount of improvement required to facilitate an enabling environment for MSMEs to thrive, I must say that I'm personally impressed with the efforts so far of the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment.
Further pointed out government support to MSMEs in the digital and creative sectors through a collaboration with industries. All right, let's move on to the National Assembly now. The Senate is to investigate the diplomatic row between Nigeria and the United Arab Emirates, which is alleged to have resulted in the denial of work permit renewals for Nigerians. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo reports.
Business of the day commenced after a 30-minute closed-door session. Minority Leader of the Senate, Enyinaya Abaribe, presented the only motion of urgent public importance. He drew the attention of the Senate to alleged denial of work permit renewal for Nigerians working in the United Arab Emirates and called on the legislators to investigate the matter.
That there are speculations that the refusal of the UAE authorities to renew the work permit for Nigerians living there is a calculated attempt to pressure the Nigerian government into accepting their conditions of service for their national airline that may have lost a lot of revenue from the Nigerian route.
Mandate the Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs and National Security and Intelligence and Interior Immigration Service, respectively, to interface with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and National Intelligence Agency, NIA, on best ways of resolving this crisis and report back to the Senate within 2 weeks.
2 bills were passed. The Nigerian Maritime Zones Act Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2021, sponsored by Senator George Sekibo, and the Federal College of Education Basambiri Bayelsa State Establishment Bill, sponsored by Senator Bio Barakuma Degi Eremienyo.
All the stakeholders says, and the UNCLOS, the law of the sea of the United Nations, says that offenders, that's clause 4.1, before you try them, you must relate with their country.
For success in revamping the education sector and good people of Bayelsa State in general.
For an act to establish the Federal College of Education Basambiri, Bayelsa State, and for other related matters 2021, third reading taken, and the bill is passed. Congratulations.
Senate paid tribute to the late general and 3 other soldiers who were killed by terrorists in Askira town in Borno State. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
In the meantime, the House of Representatives has urged the federal government to do all within its powers to stop the impending strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU. The issue, raised by Representative Julius Ihonvere under matters of urgent public importance, elicited comments from lawmakers as they called on governments to open a realistic negotiation with ASU towards the implementation of the already signed agreement. The House noted that ASU is not asking for anything new, but the implementation of the December 2020 agreement reached with government. Industrial action in the education sector, House members pointed, not only disrupts academic activities, but also has implications on national development. Meanwhile, the House has set up an ad hoc committee to interface with relevant government agencies over the alleged unfair treatment meted out on Nigerians by the United Arab Emirates, as moved by the minority leader, Ndudi Elumelu. The Non-Academic Staff Union of Educational and Associated Institutions has advocated a holistic approach that will address bottlenecks in the education sector. National President of the union, Dr. Makolo Hassan, at a National Executive Council meeting in Abuja, says the allocation of adequate funds to the sector remains the only remedy. Kunle Adeyeye reports.
Thus sets the tone of the meeting, designed to address issues like implementation of agreements with the federal government, controversies over the inconsistencies of the Integrated Payroll and Personnel Information System (IPPIS), better funding of institutions, and the ongoing strike in the research sector.
Let us roll enough money to educational sector to take care of the infrastructural settings. Number 2, now you must take care of the welfare of the workers in the various sectors.
For you, one of the things that is agitating the minds of our members across the length and breadth of the Federal Republic of Nigeria today is that payment of the minimum wage consequential adjustment area.
Responses from relevant government agencies indicate that federal government has done a lot to improve the sector.
Mr. President, as part of the struggle for improved funding has graciously approved the sum of 15 billion naira revitalization fund to the polytechnics. And is very optimistic before the end of the year the money will be released.
The delegates unanimously enjoined all tiers of government to keep improving on infrastructure. In Abuja, Kunle Adeyeye, NTA News.
This is the news on NTA News 24. More news after this break. Do stay with us. Let's return to South Africa now. And former President of Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo, says African countries must continue to explore economic opportunities within the continent to strengthen intra-African trade. He stated this when he visited the Nigerian pavilion at the Intra-Africa Trade Fair 2021 in Durban, KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa. The former Nigerian president, who is also the chairman of the Intra-African Trade Fair Advisory Council, underscored the need to remove all trade barriers for free movement of goods and persons across African markets, while expressing dismay over the current share of intra-African trade, which he says remains low.
We are not trading among ourselves enough in Africa. Only about 15% of our trade is between ourselves. And there's no reason why this should not go as high as 65% or more as they have in Europe. We need to know how to do this, particularly for the small, medium enterprises. And we need to be persistent and consistent. We need to bring about all the things that could give us drawback. Certification center, so that we can say that the standard or whatever you are exporting meets the world standard.
Countries to utilize opportunities in the African Continental Free Trade Agreement to boost trade across Africa. Nigeria intensifies efforts to increase exports of non-oil products as Africa looks to cement trade ties with Africa and regional countries. Comfort Amodu brings us details of this development from the ongoing Intra-Africa Trade Fair in Durban, South Africa.
More than 5,000 participants, 10,000 buyers and sellers under one roof, talking business and building bridges to address challenges limiting the growth of intra-African trade and market information. The Intra-African Trade Fair holding in Durban, KwaZulu-Natal provides a platform for businesses to thrive, and Nigerians are leveraging the investment opportunities.
I've had about 4 people come to us now to be key distributors here in South Africa. One in Bophuthatswana, one wants to be in Ghana. So this is going to be very good for us. And they are ready to ship in containers. This is not something we've done before, so it will help us grow. It will help us grow. And of course, help the economy as well.
There is a lift of some tariffs, and intra-Africa trading is encouraged. I think it will help facilitate flow of markets within countries, and it will help my product penetrate more into other neighboring countries.
We have been trying to break down barriers to be able to be sustainable within our continent and be able to interact, be able to trade, and be able to bring the level of finance, the level of livelihoods within our communities, make it much better.
With the plan to increase export and bilateral relations, The trade fair looks to attract investment deals worth $40 billion, and the Deputy Chief Executive Officer, African Nende, says Nigeria has the market.
Nigeria has a big market and also has a lot to export too. So coming here today, seeing what is being done here on the back of the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement gives me a lot of hope that we're definitely headed in the right direction.
For Akinwale Goodluck, it is imperative for Africa to create an enabling environment for ease of doing business, with trade currently at 16%. From Durban, KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa, Comfort Amodu, NTA News.
Back in Nigeria, Vice President Yemi Oshimbajo has assured Nigerians in the diaspora that their investments in Nigeria are safe, and government is guaranteeing that any investments made will surely yield dividends. He made this commitment at the opening of the Nigerians in Diaspora Summit in Abuja. Boss Sede Abel reports.
A gathering of great minds on economic development from within and outside Nigeria, some physical, others virtual. It's the 4th Nigeria Diaspora Investment Summit convened by Nigerians in Diaspora Commission. Partnerships and linkages for post-COVID-19 economic growth is the theme. And the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, who stood in for the Vice President Yemi Oshimbajo, used the platform to highlight the significant role Nigerians in diaspora can play in the economic development of their home country.
We assure you of our commitment to ensure that your investments are not only secured, but that you get a good rate of return.
I'm glad that the diaspora are responding and coming home to see what they can do. And we have many, many success stories to tell.
Investment opportunities and development framework put in place by the government to attract foreign investors were also lined up for discussion.
There are people here and abroad who are ready to ensure that Ajakuta works.
The 2-day summit, which focuses on ICT, agro-business, health, entertainment, sport, oil and gas, education, as well as real estate, is not just keen on attracting foreign direct investment, but also ensuring that the capacity of indigenous businesses are enhanced. In Abuja, Boss Sede Abel, NTA News.
Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission to partner relevant agencies in investigating illegal practices of digital money lenders. Let's join Kunle Adeye for details on business news.
The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, and the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, are set to commence investigations into the illegal practices of digital money lenders in the country. This was disclosed in a statement by the Chief Executive Officer of FCCPC, Babatunde Irukera, on behalf of the Joint Regulatory and Enforcement Committee of agencies involved in the investigations. He said the collaborative investigation was to ensure enforcement action against already known violators while investigating others and commencing criminal prosecutions where applicable. He stated that the conduct of some money lenders was becoming a dominant and abusive practice targeting some of the most vulnerable in the society. And investors gained 111.61 billion naira as all-share index inched up by 0.49% to erase the previous day loss. Market closed at 43,444.2 basis points as 423.8 million shares valued at 11.6 billion naira exchange hands in 4,181 deals. Market breadth closed flat as Cortex led 17 gainers as against 17 losers stored by Total at the end of the day's session. With business news, I'm Kunle Adeye.
Let's go to Lagos now, where 5 bodies have been recovered from a gas explosion that occurred in the early hours of Tuesday around Ojekunle in Ladipo Market. Eyewitness accounts say the explosion was as a result of negligence on the part of a cylinder repairer. Abolade Salami reports.
A section of the ever-busy Ladipo Market stood still for some hours to give room for emergency responders to put out the fire caused by a gas explosion. The unfortunate incident, according to eyewitness accounts, was caused by an explosion of a cylinder being worked upon by an artisan some few meters to a woman frying bean cake.
I was taking my beat. I just had the explosion suddenly. So I just had to take my risk. Just risk my own life first before even checking on any other people.
Thank God for this fire extinguisher. They come in time. Both Solo own and Kappa own, they try the best here.
Swift response by a combined team of emergency responders helped salvage the situation from escalating.
See, what matters most is for the general public to allow.
Well, apologies for the abrupt ending to that report. You're on to the news on NTA News 24. Stay with us. More reports after this timeout.
Nation fún ti òwúrọ̀ yìí ibẹ̀ náà ti sọ pé àwọn ìgbìmọ̀ aláṣẹ ìpínlẹ̀ Benue pàṣẹ wípé.
ní gbogbo àwọn ẹ̀ka ní ẹ̀ka ètò ẹ̀kọ́ ní ẹ̀ka ètò ìlera ní ẹ̀ka ètò ààbò.
NTA, you can't beat the rich.
Did you get to see the way Daily Babadu pulls this? Don't forget to send in your messages.
There's a difference between picking, child, and issue. That is can do more with less people.
If we have a better way of addressing these issues, taking care of.
Congratulations, you were able to sign Timo Werner from RB Leipzig.
So you take water before your workout.
People have used their phone, using TikTok to do that.
Should I go for test? Should I?
A lot of people don't even have resources.
You can't even hear the sound of a cockroach. I'm Cecil, and this is the Medley Show on NTA.
This week on Executive Discuss.
I've paid the price. Whichever way Nigerian women look at it, that is their own headache. I have done my own. Let everybody come on board. Let them do their own, and let us see their